Computerized Start is brought to you by my awesome patrons on Patreon and by your tips and memberships on Coffee. These and other channel supporters make my live streams possible. You too can become a channel supporter with tiers starting at just $1. And as always, thank you for all your support, including sharing, chatting, liking, and subscribing. Now roll that famous logo animation. Good evening and welcome back to Computerized Start Live. I'm your host, Justin D. Morgan, and this is an unplanned work stream. Which means I have a list of things to do, and when I hit my cutoff for the night, or I finish them, then, well, that's all I have for the stream tonight. I'm not going to do anything else. Unless I go upstairs and work on VCFE's things that aren't on the stream. But anyways, who do we have on the stream? Yes. Yeah, there's no gonna be Wheel of Regrets tonight. Well, unless these aren't any good, then we will. Let's see, who is in the chat? We have Kibbs with Retro. Oh, please don't steal the computers. We have Frank S. Hi, Kibbs. Hi, Frank. We have SadMac356. Hi, SadMac. Yes, it is Justin time. We have Jeremy's Vintage Hillbilly Shack. Hi, Jeremy. We have Gut Bomb. I'm glad there's no quiz on how many exclamation marks that is. Do I take reasonable? Yes, I would take reasonable requests. Yes, I will take reasonable requests, but like, don't try to like say, hey, let's go install Masm on that other computer, because I'm not taking Microsoft Assembler to VCF East. I do have my standards. All right, so I have 2 items on my work list tonight. The first is a fan favorite, and the second is, oh, well, let's see here if I can turn the right way. Not only can YouTubers not point, but they can't turn around correctly. The second item is right there. It's been like that for I don't know how long, and it's about time I do something about it or realize it's not going to VCF East. Let's Gutbump says, okay, my reasonable request is let's fix computer tonight. Oh, I would love to fix computer tonight, but computer needs parts I don't have. I need sockets, I need chips, I need lots of time, and I need a decent desoldering station. Instead, we're going to work on the Talking 286. I realize that's probably not a really palatable substitute, but it's kind of all I have tonight. Oh, and I do have my coffee goal. The link's in the video description, as well as a link to the hopefully now working URL don'tmesswithretro.com. I realize it wasn't working previously because I tried to use GoDaddy domain redirects, but that domain is actually now correctly mapped in on the hosting side, so we don't have to use GoDaddy URL redirects, which means it's probably going to work way more reliably. So yeah, don'tmesswithretro.com. No, it's not a sponsored ad. That's a public service announcement. The more you know. Yeah, so anyways, we have the Talking 286. Pickup says, I finally got around to watching Star Trek II, The Wrath of Khan a couple nights ago. I have only seen it one time previous when I was 13. I liked it more this time. Yes. Yes, it probably, when you can appreciate exactly what's going on, I think it's a little bit more enjoyable of a movie. And plus, it is interesting seeing the Doc as a evil Klingon. But anyways. All right, so what do I have on the list of items that need done to the 286? Well, some assembly required. Batteries not included. See store for details. Alright, but some assembly required. I have yet to do anything to the floppy drives, so they kind of need to be cleaned and lubricated. Although, I may skip that, because quite honestly, I don't think we need those at VCF East. I do, though, want to install the compact flash adapter to make things easier. Got the compact flash card here. But, most importantly, I have these right here. You might remember, in a previous stream, I installed the Sound Machine sound card and tested it in Sound Blaster mode. We've got the quick shot sound machine, and you might remember that on Dave's stream I had installed some sockets on the card. Well, tonight is this card's lucky night, hopefully, because not only did I go program the gal chip, and I have two different gals here, and I'm going to see if I can't, I need to find some better markers. Ah, there we go. So this is the one I'm going to try to use first. And I realize you probably can't see what I've written on it, but NWCMS. I'm sure some of you all have probably immediately realized which creative music system gal I programmed into this, but it would be Necrowares. So I'm hoping that all I have to do is install the gal chip here. Before I forget, let me move the jumper, because you install the jumper to disable it. Come on. And now, hey Rudy, welcome. All right. Now I am going to finally see, because these came in yesterday from China. Where else do you buy chips that aren't made anymore? In fact, I even tried to see if Arcade Parts had these, but they didn't, so. Oh, well, maybe these are actually what they say they are, because they look like they're laser engraved. Anyway, these are Philips SAA 1099P chips. And I need 2 of them. So anyways, let me take 1. Luckily, the auction I purchased these from, it was a lot of 3, so one of these can be bad, and I still get to have my creative music system. I like Legos. Yes, I do like Legos. Oh, hi, Jesse. Welcome. Alright, and there we got 2. Now, it might be crazy for trying to do this upgrade on a card to then take it to VCF East, because there's going to be lots of background noise. But anyways, I do this because I care. And now, my quick shot sound machine has the creative music system enabled for maximum square wave carnage. I mean, enjoyment. Maybe that would be ear carnage. I don't know. Jeremy says there were 6 puppies born here this morning. Well, awesome. And hopefully it was expected, but... Oh, Gut Bomb cloned the old Lego card for the Apple II to control Lego Technics motors. I never got into Technics. Might have to. There we go. All right. Oh, and you couldn't see me install the card because I had zoomed in. Anyway, the sound card is back in the machine. And now, to test the sound card, I have hopefully knock on wood, hopefully did download the correct file from the Internet Archive. Let me go open the... Oh, we have the Big Bad Biologist. Hi, John. Welcome. Oh, by the way, John, have you seen the exhibitor diagram recently? All right, let's see here. Miscellaneous software. Normally, I would find a zip file named monkey very suspicious. It might still be suspicious. Yes! Ah, the Big Bad Biologist noticed. Yes. So, if you're a VCF East, if you manage to find the Big Bad Biologist, or Das Dude, or DIY, or Steve, Mike, or Sean, or myself, well, you found the rest of us, because we're kind of in that kind of common corner. I'm sure there's a few other people on the exhibit list that I probably know and just haven't realized yet. But anyways, those were the ones I picked up on before then going to bed because it was quite late. Why in the world do I have this big long? Oh, I'm going to have to probably find a more reasonable length IDE cable because this like 2 or 3 foot ribbon cable is not going to go in this case. All right. There we go. We got the compact flash card. I have the first game I thought of that supports the creative music system. That would be Monkey Island. And we will give that a try. All right, let's see here. There's that. I have been slightly... Oh, I'm going to probably have to go grab a mouse. Assuming that I actually do have what I think is the correct Monkey Island game, then I'll go find a serial mouse. All right. Oh, probably would help to plug in some speakers so we can hear the sweet, sweet square waves. And now everyone's probably thinking that, well, that's an interesting way of describing square waves, Justin, but, well, I aim to please. Let's see here. Yeah, I'm sure there'll be plenty of videos on the conference. Plenty of videos. Oh, I just realized I forgot to plug something in. All right. While I try to remember what I did with the keyboard. Please check your keyboard. Yes. Alright. Some people might accuse me of doing that on purpose, but actually I forgot that I had left my Emerson keyboard here. I was working on a 386 on, I think it was Dave's stream, and my my PC chip's motherboard is unreliable, so I'm probably going to have to get another 386 board for my 386 DX40 build. Because I find it quite annoying that about 50% of the time it just doesn't start to post. And I would say that's just because the board's old, but actually I have a feeling it's because it's a PC chip's motherboard, but that's beside the point. Alright, I have the keyboard plugged in. Jeremy says I have at least 6 to 8 weeks from now of caring for 8 canines to look forward to, and the daddy is getting snipped ASAP. Yes. Yes, help control the pet population, have your pet spayed or neutered. Bob Barker always said. Alright. Let's see if... I think there is a... Oh, that's interesting. Oh, well, that's also very interesting. I thought I thought that was an installer. I have no idea which music system this is under. Oh. Alright, come on. I just want to exit the game, and something tells me that... I don't know. There we go. That'll quit the game. Alright, let me look up the instructions for the creative music system running the board. I'll think about that, Jeremy. The X33 is tempting, but I think I want a board that'll do DX40 so I can use the processor I have. Let's see. Alright, let's see here. DOS Days, The Secret of Monkey Island. Oh, don't tell me this game was there on DOS Days all along. Probably not. Install.bat. Huh. Okay, let's see here. Here we go. Command line arguments. Alright, so... Let's see here. Game Blaster is G. Yes, that would be right. Okay, I need parameter G. Oh, let's see here. We've got Adam McGee. Uh, Hi, Adam. And we have Kevin Nielsen. Hi, Kevin. Welcome. And let's see here. Big Bad Biologist says, what? An unreliable PC chips motherboard? Unheard of. Yeah, I know. All right. Here we go. This should be Game Blaster, which is the creative music system. Oh yeah, that's definitely Game Blaster. That's definitely a hanging note bug. All right, so my analysis of that. Jeremy's asking hanging note bug. No, I did not hear any hanging notes while it was playing. Now, the Game Blaster is known that if you like restart while it's playing, then you will have a hanging note because nothing told it to stop playing. But Adam is also one point that did sound terrible, and I don't know if that's because Game Blaster was overrated or if there's something wrong with my SAA 1099p chips. Okay, that's weird. Oh, that's right. I powered off. I power cycled to get rid of the hanging note. Jeremy says the volume was alternating up and down. All right, let's try something else. Remember, I have filters that run most of the time. Okay, I have turned off the filters. I think first let's play ad lib, which is default, and then we'll go back to Game Blaster. I have turned the filters off, so hopefully you will get a constant volume. So this should be ad lib mode. Very well, yeah, may very well have. Arg! Why can't games program themselves better to, like, survive a reboot? Without hanging the note! Okay, I just realized. Now use an MT32. I wish I had an MT32 to use, but I don't. Alright, we will, okay, we'll try Game Blaster again, and we'll see if it sounds better without the filter on. But yeah, the ad-lib sounded ad-libby. Yeah, Jeremy says, creative in general is overrated. The only thing creative had going was compatibility. Yeah. Because actually, the Sound Blaster is really, at least for OPL sound, is really no more than a ad-lib. Alright. Yeah, Adam says, I have an empty 32. Yes. Alright, so let's try the Game Blaster mode. Let's see if it sounds any better without the filters running on my microphone. Alright. So, that was Game Blaster, and ad-lib sounds better. However, Game Blaster is actually in stereo. I believe in this game, the ad-lib is not in stereo, because I think it's just using OPL. Actually, I think this card's only an OPL 2, because it's basically a Sound Blaster. I forget if it's a 1.5 or 2, basically. But anyways, at least I wanted to get the Game Blaster mode up and running. That was the big deal with the card. So that works for better or for worse. Yeah, Jeremy says ad-lib is always mono. Yep. So I guess you all can comment on whether you'd rather have square waves but stereo or FM synth but mono. Hey, K-Mac. Welcome. And wait, Kevin? Oh, did I miss someone coming in the chat? Maybe not. Okay. Okay. So, sound card is upgraded. That was like the one thing I wanted to do. Not that there's necessarily any guarantee people will be able to hear the music coming out of it, but I did at least want to finish that upgrade. So let's get the rest of the upgrades buttoned up so that I can put this computer back together. All right, Jeremy's voting for FM synth. All right. All right, so. Oh, that was weird. Is it me, or did my webcam just blink? Yeah, Rudy says I vote for AM radio. Haha! Alright, so I've got the... So this is a... compact flashcard adapter of a certain brand. But of course the box doesn't have the brand on it, so I forget what brand it is. But the thing is, there is a 3D model that is an alternate bracket for whatever brand I bought, and there's a reason I do this. So if you use one of these brackets with the compact flash card on the PCI side of the slot, if you put the adapter into a slot that is right beside an ISA card, then there's a chance you might actually short things together. So while on this case I could do this and just put it in the slot as it is, I might want to put one more card in this computer, so I'm going to do a bracket swap here. The thing is, I have enough of these 3D printed brackets, I can bracket swap here. And then that way, the card is on the correct side. And then if I do jam in another card into this computer, then I don't have to worry about the adapter shorting out on anything. Alright, so basically you just unscrew the one adapter. And then I think this print will actually work if I just reuse the screws. And there we go. Seba, yes, thank you, Jesse. It is a Seba brand adapter. Now, the only one drawback about the adapter is it does put the Berg power connector on the bottom. So, but generally, the way the power cables are made, I'm less concerned about that causing issues than potentially, well, either losing, because basically I'm going to take one slot up with the adapter. I'd hate to have to block two off, because, never know when I might want to put something in this computer, like a SCSI card or something like that for CD-ROM emulation with a blue SCSI. So Jeremy says, I recently pulled the head unit out of recently pulled the original AM-only radio out of my 1985 Ford E150 to install an AM/FM Bluetooth aux head unit. Nice. Alright. Oh, I forgot to zoom out again. Alright. So, Alright. I am going to rearrange these cards just slightly. Because it doesn't really matter, but I want to put the compact flash card adapter into this slot here. Only because it'll make it the easiest to run the power connector to it. So I am going to leave the sound card in the farmost slot. And all right. That'll leave a gap slot between it and the network card. Anything to help with noisiness. And then I'll put the video card into the next slot down. I'll have to get a screw for it. This computer had, I think this computer at one point had 4 cards in it, because when I got it, I think there was only one slot cover in it. So whoever had this computer before it got sold on eBay had it loaded with cards, but whoever sold it on eBay pulled the cards. So I don't know what cards were in it before it got sent to the e-waste stream. Because it didn't have a video card in it. So that's why I have this nice Cirrus Logic video card. And the reason why it's a Cirrus Logic and not a Trident card is because my other Emerson 286 has built-in Trident graphics. So I did not need two 286s with Trident graphics. I know, that might disappoint some, but I really didn't need two 286s with the same graphics chip. Alright, so let's plug in power. Now that should go in right like that. There we go. And all right, there we go. Compact flash card adapter is in. It's okay, so it doesn't fit as nicely in this case because the slot openings are not quite... They're a little taller than what I think slot openings finally standardized on. There's a little stabilizing clip on this 3D printed bracket that has nowhere to go on this case because the slots are physically longer. So I'll just have to be careful when plugging cards in to not like push too much or I'll break the print at the top. But there we go. Now we've got the cards in. Sound card. Also, this case is just a little bit warped, so actually, maybe it's not warped. All right. So let's... All right. So I guess we need to... All right. Okay, so I'm not installing a GoTech in this computer. So let me remove the GoTech that I was using for... I don't have a GoTech to dedicate to it. I also am going to remove the obnoxiously long IDE cable unless I don't have another option. And let's see here. Okay, so and then let's go ahead and going to remove the Sony drive and the 5 1/4 inch drive. And let me set these aside for the moment. Alright. So I need to take care of a few things. Alright. I think it's finally time to remove the original power switch from this computer. If I can find the correct chances that... Ha! Nope. That would have been too convenient. We can't have that sort of convenience around here. Alright, let me... Okay. Let me see if I can figure out what size of nut that is. Yeah, let's see here. Calipers. Where did I put the calipers? Oh, of course. I hid the calipers from myself because that would have been too easy to have not put them somewhere where I have no idea where I put them. That would have been too easy. Alright, fine. Alright, I guess I'll do this the... Alright, when I mount the new power switch, I'm going to try to use something that actually has a screw head on it, in case I ever need to remove the switch again. So if anyone's wondering who cut the power lead off, it was whoever, I guess, e-wasted it. For whatever reason, I guess they decided they couldn't sell the original power supply with it, so they just cut the lead off and sold it on eBay. There we go. So I will use the power switch that is on the power supply that I am putting in here as its replacement. All right. I guess... The I'll lubricate the floppy drive while it's still mounted, because I can get everything. All right. So let's go ahead and mount this to the case so I can put the power supply in. Go. There we go. Let's see here. Oh, good. The new power switch has the screws in it. All right. That'll make it easier to replace. All right. That's right. I forgot. There actually were two slot... Okay, I forgot. I had the slot brackets set aside. So, actually, there weren't as many cards in here as I thought there were. Alright. Now, you'll have to give me a moment because I did not label these bags very well necessarily. Alright, so I'm pretty sure these are the front bezel screws. Alright. So I'll set those there. Let's see here. That's a metal clip. These are... I have no idea what those go to. One, two, three. Alright, so there should be a bag with 3 screws in it that hold in the... Yep, and I bet these are them. Okay. There we go. Nope, that's not the right screw. Okay. Oh. Maybe it's these screws. 1, 2... This is what happens when you disassemble a computer, don't label the bags, and then try to reassemble it like some 6 months later. Nope, that's not them. Of course, honestly, some of these screws I probably should just use better screws to replace. Alright. Are these the right screws? There we go. Those are the right screws. Alright. So I'm going to put the drive cage back in. I will use new screws to secure the power supply because there was no power supply, so I don't have the original screws for it. Alright. So yes, if you're looking forward to seeing the Talking 286 at VCF East, then smash that like button. I know it might seem like a weird choice to take to VCF East, but well, it is a vintage computer, and I suspect there won't... Well, I suspect there won't be another one like it there. Yeah, just watch. There'll be like 13 Emerson computers. Yeah, I do have a blog post I'm working on that will detail the computers I'm thinking of taking and... Interestingly enough, before I then realized that, oh yeah, I forgot a major category of computers on my table. I had 6 computers on my primary list, and with 2 6-foot tables, I was like, ah, yeah, six seems like a good number of computers to take. And then I realized I'd completely forgotten about the Macintosh LC, and I couldn't believe myself. It's like, ah, how could I forget something like that? That's an important computer. Jesse says, I thought that Justin had the worldwide supply of Emerson computers. Well, probably, but you never know when you'll realize that, no, you don't. I'm trying to remember what's... Oh, that's not right. Okay. Hold, please, while I try to remember what thread screws are used to screw in a power supply. This is embarrassing. All right. It's not an M3. Oh, maybe it's one of these? And it's possible this power supply uses a different thread. Oh, there we go. Okay. I found it. I think this power supply might use a slightly different thread gauge than power supplies now, which is probably why I was having trouble. Oh, and the screw holes don't quite line up. That's nice. Oh, hey, RetroTech Chris. RetroTech Chris posted a new video, so you can check it out later. Since the item he looked at in the video is not a VCF East repair part, I have not bought one yet, but maybe someday. I did buy a part off eBay today, but I deemed it a VCF East purchase because it is for a computer I'm taking to VCF East. Yeah, this power supply does not quite line up right because the cutout is slightly different than... Alright. Okay, I don't think anyone will notice much. It's on the back. Oh, Chris is watching from the elliptical and he won't join the stream. Well, I wasn't going to ask you to do that, Chris. That's, that is... Well, that would first of all require me to have software I don't have, and second of all, that was, I believe, Tom Barber that was taking screenshots. Okay, well, the power supply is in. It's not the best of fit, but let me see if I can tweak it just a little bit. It's probably one of those that if I... Okay. Yeah, this is kind of one of those things that if I took a file to the screw holes and slightly elongated them on one time, then I think I'd be able to make it so that you couldn't tell that the power supply was... The holes didn't line up. It's like power supplies almost had a standard screw spacing when they made this case, but not quite. Because this is just a standard AT power supply. It's like they were getting there, but not quite. Anyways, so there it is. This is that really dirty power supply that I showed off on Dave's stream. It was on my recapping live stream. There's a gap here because these two screw holes line up nicely, but these are like ever so slightly off. The screw hole needs to be like just a scotch that away. And then this power supply would like fit like perfectly. But that's fine. No one will see the back of this computer anyways. Except John's probably thinking now, but I will, because I'll be behind you. Well, that's where I say, well, guess what? There might be gaff tape on the back of this. Alright, I'm hoping this power switch lines up. Sorry, I can't push this any further back. I got obstructions. So, yep. This power supply came out of a case. The inside of the power supply was very dirty. It has been recapped. I've put a new fan in it. So it's got a nice quiet Noctua fan. And the problem is I accidentally broke part of the case that this originally came out of. So putting this power supply in this computer will give it the best chance of making a computer live again. And I'm hoping these screws clear the case bezel. Otherwise, I'll just have to use the other screws and find the bit that tightens them. There we go. There we go. Alright. So now let me secure the drive bracket. I think I am going to really yeah. Chris says, I'm waiting on a compact LTE 5000 in the mail. I know, big revelation coming from me. Yeah. Well, I'll be waiting for a computer case to come in the mail. Which, considering I told myself no vintage computer purchases till after VCF East, well, you probably know there's something about the case if I... Well, actually, I think I just told you a few minutes ago. It will be for something that'll be at VCF East, unless things go wrong. But yeah. We'll just say I had a saved search. And the saved search found something today. And while it wasn't like an absolutely fabulous price, considering it's the first one I'd seen that met this criteria in like 6 to 8 months since I started looking, I went ahead and paid the buy it now price just to make sure I got it. It wasn't okay. It wasn't like a fabulous price, but it was an okay price. There we go. Actually, the heads on that floppy drive are pretty clean. The lead screw is like not as clean. All right, we'll clean that up and relubricate it. Ugh. That's the old gunky lubricant. All right. Okay, there's that. Let me go ahead and pop this Sony drive apart. There are some things about this Sony drive that look like very strangely like... Oh, wait a minute. How does this come apart? Oh, there we go. All right. I just want to lubricate this drive too. Now, I don't have any high density discs. I won't be able to test the 5 1/4 inch drive. I, of course, have 3.5 inch discs. Yes, Chris, I think, just revealed. Oh yeah, and yeah, for those of you that are listening and not watching the chat, so Chris just clarified in the chat, he's not waiting on a Compaq 5000 series laptop. He actually is waiting on an LTE 5000. All right. Assuming it works, yes. Yes, that is always true. Assuming the case I receive works as well, it will be seen at VCF East. Now, granted, the not as easily cliffhangered among you might have realized that I did only say case. I didn't say like case and power supply. And yeah, it would be very difficult for just the case to not work. Although don't underestimate the United States Postal Service if that's how it's coming. Yeah, I thought the Sony drive might look a little more like the Mac drives internally, but I guess it... Oh, actually, I guess it sort of does. Alright, well... I'm hoping I don't need to, like, completely disassemble it, but... I'm at least going to remove that gunk there. Alright. Yeah, Chris knows what I'm getting, because I spilled the beans to Chris. And I'm fairly sure that folks will probably eventually realize that there aren't too many computer cases that I might have been looking for that would be special enough to go to VCF East. And no, it's not the Mac Plus case. I actually may not. I was thinking of taking the Mac Plus to VCF East, but oh, I just realized I don't have any. I don't have any of the white lithium that I wanted to use. Oh no! All right, I'll just have to use this other stuff. Gutbomb says, I think the Smashed Mac Plus would be a great exhibit. I don't think I could get the Smashed Mac Plus there to exhibit without a new case. Um, Jeremy says, "Yay, moonlight." I presume that means the moon is out. Jesse says those 75 megahertz processor cards in the 5000 has blood, sweat, and tears. I emphasize tears. Putting one together. Retro. Oh, hi, Retro Techie. Retro Techie's asking for that famous Retro Tech Chris's autograph, and yeah, that's like one of those weird things. You ask for Retro Tech Chris's autograph, and then the next minute you realize he's already gone off to go look at the compact LTE you didn't realize was there. Or he'll just mail you one. It depends on if there was a compact LTE that you didn't realize was there or not. All right. All right. Okay. So this isn't the. I was hoping to use the white lithium that was just a little bit more. Had maybe a little bit more stick-to-itiveness. But this will have to do because apparently I didn't realize that the other white lithium I had was separating, and I think I threw it out because it was separating. Alright, there's that, and let's get the lead screw. Ooh, that's nasty. Alright, we'll get a new. Oh, John's Story's now on YouTube. We should all sub. Alright. What's that currency that like inflation took off like a lot so that $1 million is like nothing? I think Chris might send you a check for like 1 million of those dollars, worth like 0 US cents. All right. Okay, yeah, Argentina, yeah. You might get a check for like a slightly slightly 1 million slightly undesired Argentinian dollars that's worth like, oh, it's worth even less now than when I first made the joke. Whoop, I think it's gone down in value some more. In fact, at this point, you might have to send Chris a self-addressed stamped envelope for that autograph for that 1 million Argentinian dollars. Alright, so I am going to... Well, I am not going to use that floppy disk because it's a bit damaged. I need more floppy disks. Oh no, I have like gone through my box of floppy disks I bought several years ago. So don't forget to smash that like button and... Okay, I need to lubricate a few more points on this drive, although 4 million Antarctica dollars. All right, good night, Francois. Jesse says 4 million Antarctica dollars. Well, I was going to suggest like $1 million Monopoly dollars, but I was pretty sure that that would have been like too obvious of a ploy. I think I may have to... So the eject mechanism on this drive is a bit... gummed. Alright, I am probably going to have to disassemble this drive at some point to better lubricate it. Unfortunately, it is assembled differently than the Apple drive, so I'm not exactly sure how one gets the mechanism apart to lubricate it. Although maybe I can remove the faceplate carefully and I might be able to... Maybe if I can remove the faceplate carefully, I don't think I'll be able to clean the old gunk out, but at least maybe I can get a little more new stuff in. Because unfortunately, unlike the Apple drive, which this seems to be inspired by looking at the bottom, the Apple drive doesn't have these metal rails on the side, so I'm not sure how one's supposed to get the Sony drive apart for cleaning and maintenance, and I think the answer probably is you weren't. Alright, well... I don't think I can get the front faceplate off very easily. Mike Tech makes this look so easy. Oh, there we go. Alright, I got the front faceplate off. Now let me see if there's anywhere where I can... It's a bit dusty in here. Alright, let me blow some dust out here real quick. There we go. I don't know. I think they cast this in place or something. I don't know. It's really weird. Alright, well, we're just going to kind of move on. Maybe this computer is going to be a candidate for a GoTech upgrade. After all, at least on the 3.5-inch drive, because it's gummed up, so I don't know how well it's going to actually... Well, I guess it's the eject and inject that's the problem. Alright. Hold on. I reassembled it wrong. There we go. Maybe if I look on this little site called YouTube, maybe I'll find a disassembly instructions. Alright, but at least if I reconnect the drive to power so we get that lovely, lovely drive seek sound, I at least don't have to worry about that causing drive damage. I mean, yeah, I guess I could replace the drive with something less gummed up too, but that is the original 3.5-inch floppy drive. Oh, also I just realized the pin... There's no stripe on this ribbon cable. Well, that's convenient. Alright. Oh, is there a key pin in it? Yes. Alright, at least Emerson used a keyed floppy cable. And also, the floppy cable still has its original bend in it, so... There we go. Alright, so there's the 3.5-inch floppy drive and the 5.25-inch floppy drive, and let's see here. Guess it doesn't really matter which power connector I use. There we go. Alright, let's... Before I start screwing things in anymore, let's see if these floppy drives even work. But first I'm going to have to go probably grab my solder station, because I just knocked it off the back of the workbench and it's probably dangling by the cord right now. So I will power the computer up and let it start to run its memory test, and then I will rescue my solder station. There we go. Oh yeah, it is dangling by the cord. Lovely. Oh, that might... Ah! Well, I heard both drives seek, but, alright, let's see here. The A drive is a 5.25, and there we go. Alright, let's try that. Oh! That's right. I forgot to go grab an IDE cable. Alright. Let me go see if I've got an IDE cable that is not, like, a silly one to use for some reason. Like, for example, it's like 40,000 feet long. Oh, here we go. Here we go. I've got a more reasonably sized cable. This will be a better choice. Alright. So we will plug this So that is going into my adapter board that flips the pin out. And if it wasn't for the fact that I might need to reuse this cable on something else in the future, if I manage to find a supply of maybe shorter cables, or maybe single drive cables that are shorter, I'd trim the cable to fit better. Alright, let's try that. You know, this is so nice having the switch on the case now. Alright, good night, Frank. Alright, let's see here. Just so you can see the drive seek, there we go. They sound great. And booting MS-DOS. And I'll even try to format this floppy disk here. I don't have a high density 5 1/4 inch disc, so we'll just have to skip that and assume it works. Yes, on this computer, the 3.5 inch drive is the B drive. That is how it would have shipped. So I am going to leave it that way. It's not the greatest of sounding drives, but it might just need some runtime to kind of run a little more. Let's try this. Oh, I know what it might have been. It might have just been that I'm used to hearing the disc format all the way through, and I didn't tell it to do an unsafe format, so it tried to do a quick format, and I think it was just the timing slightly different because it was just verifying that the disc was okay, not actually wiping it. So I think the cadence was off. Yeah, the drive sounds much... It sounds correct now that I'm actually making it format the disc. The cadence is right. It's at least more uniform, I'll put it that way. It's also possible that just running the drive has let the bearings work themselves out again in the spindle motor. Yeah, alright. I think this computer is... Yeah, I think I just need to screw the floppy drives in. Which, actually, I'll put the faceplate on. That way I can align the 3.5 inch drive correctly. The 5 1/4 inch drive should be aligned because I never removed it from its bracket, so it should be aligned. Yeah, this computer will be back together. Oh. It is, like, the weirdest faceplate, though. Alright. Okay. We'll put the faceplate back on. Alright. Oh, got bummed, didn't hear it talking. Well, I'll make it talk here one last time. when I get back together. Make sure everything's working right. So yeah, absolutely cheapest faceplate. These covers are actually designed to snap off. So I'm not sure how Emerson expected you to put the slot cover back if you decided you didn't like your CD-ROM upgrade, but yeah, that's, I think, how they brought the cost of this machine down, I guess, because well, I mean, they would have been selling this in department stores, I guess, and I guess they were designing it to a cost, but yeah, that's cheap. And yeah, it uses a ribbon cable for the front panel lights and reset button. Again, cheap. Cheap, cheap, cheap. All right. I will at least give him this. The reset button is hard to press accidentally. Alright, I am going to contact clean the ribbon. Where the ribbon cable goes. Also going to very gently clean the flex cable side of it, because it might be a bit oxidized. And before I screw it in, I'm going to make sure that it actually, the front panel stuff works, because that's just how fiddly it is. Alright, there we go. And then basically it just plugs straight in. There we go. Alright. Plug the keyboard back in. That'll hold it in place temporarily. I'll make sure so the LEDs on the front are for the power, the speed, the hard drive access, and then there's a reset button. So I will very quickly give all of those a test. Okay, the power button does correctly engage the power button. I do have the power and speed LEDs. They are both green. I think the speed LED is on for turbo and off for not turbo. And it would appear as if the hard drive access LED does not work. Interesting. Either that or the compact flash card is so fast it... Oh, actually it does work. That's just how fast the compact flash card is. What are we breaking today? Well, Ryan, I am trying to fix my talking 286. And so far, it is going very well. Oh, let me test the reset button here. Oh, okay. Wow, they made the reset button really hard to press. But it works. All right. Oh, sorry, you didn't see that. Yep. Yes, Ryan, I have to say this is not my 286 that has a Trident card in it. That's my other 286. Because I can Trident many of the things, but I cannot Trident all of the things. Also, Ryan, thank you for your assistance to get the domain, the don'tmesswithretro.com, mapped over to the website, because GoDaddy's URL forwarding was not working correctly. And thank you, Adam, for pointing out that the URL forwarding was not working correctly. That was... I'm blaming GoDaddy on that. Because I think GoDaddy's URL forwarding... I don't know. Ryan will allow it this time. Well, that's good, Ryan, because my other 286 has a Trident card built into it, and I do have to let other video card brands occasionally have a shot at being in computers. Oh, that's... Oh, whoops. I do not know the answer to that, Ryan. I will have to check my phone and see if I got a... Oh. Ah! um... Let's see here. Okay. Let me get the other screws on this faceplate in. Yeah, this computer is... I think... Oh, I'll have to get the 3.5-inch drive screwed in, but let me get the faceplate screwed in first, because otherwise I might not get the drive centered properly. Oh, hold on. Let's see here. All right. It is so nice to get a computer back together. Yeah, Ryan says we have to sometimes give the other inferior card brands a chance to show how inferior they are to Trident cards. Yeah, very funny, Ryan. Yeah, just wait till I get one of those Sing Labs ET4000AX cards. We must show that card how inferior it is to Trident cards. I have not tried to get any of my Macs onto Global Talk yet because of reasons, including, but not limited to, I really haven't had a chance to yet. Plus, I only want to print to Steve's printer. I don't want to open up a file share, and I don't want to, I don't have a printer to set up to let people just indiscriminately spam with printouts, but I do want to send Steve's printer something. Oh, hey, Vborg, welcome! All right. Let me get this Sony drive screwed in. Why do I have so many? I'm trying to figure out why I have so many spare screws. Okay, those side screws. Let's see, those 3 screws hold. I have no idea what those go to. There was a metal clip installed in here somewhere. Oh, maybe that was... Spare screws are just weight reduction. Yeah, seriously. Oh, that doesn't go there. All right. Well, I'll figure out where they go at some point, I'm sure. It's also possible that... Okay, there's the screws for the floppy drive. It's also possible that some of these screws I have with this computer may actually go to another computer, so... Because I might have gotten a few screws mixed up. Well, actually, I think the problem is the... I'm trying to think. So, I haven't put all 3 screws, or all the screws in for the power supply, because there's like 2 screws at the back that hold it down. So, I know those haven't gone in yet. And... there's the 6 screws that hold the case on. Oh, wait, there's 9 screws that hold the case on. Ah, I see why I've got so many screws. So the only thing I don't know where it goes now is there's like a little metal clip. I don't know where the metal clip goes. That must be it. All right. I couldn't tell you why they put 9 screws in to hold the case down. Maybe they were afraid that... Maybe they were afraid that people would think that they were an inferior brand if they used the same number of case screws as the other brands. So they decided to go with 9 so that they could advertise their computers as having extra cover holding power in the event of a tornado. In the event of a tornado, the contents of your computer are 50% more secure than the leading brands because there's more screws holding the cover on. So when you do find your computer in the middle of a field after that tornado, well, maybe your hard drive's still inside of it. I don't know. All right, the floppy drives are in. Power supply's in. Floppy drives are cabled. Video card, sound card. Now all I gotta do is remember what I did with the top cover. Oh, wait. False alarm. It was just right beside me. All right. And here we go. It's like there should be some sort of ceremony when I finally get a computer back together again, because it seems like many computers get disassembled, but few get reassembled. And I think I didn't quite get the front bezel aligned correctly. Arg. Nothing to worry about, folks. It was just my soldering station, like, falling off my workbench again. I'll only need that slightly later tonight to start to recap a analog board for a monitor. So, nothing to worry about, folks. Yeah, I probably should have just removed the top completely, but I didn't. Oh, I haven't had a chance to try the Dell CRT yet. It's, it hasn't made it down to the basement yet, in fact. I'll get to it. Well, someday. You know, yeah, putting the computer together all the way is kind of one of those fine, okay. Hold, please, while I try to align this. Yeah, I would test this before putting the lid completely on, but in the process of putting the lid completely on, I might break something. And it's very possible I'm now realizing that I got the impression this case was slightly warped, and maybe I'm now realizing how warped it was. All right. Yeah, Vborg says, oh, good night, Ryan. Vborg says, man, you famous YouTube stars really do end up with large backed up piles of projects later broken. Yeah. That's why I haven't gotten to the monitor yet. I was kind of hoping to get a few things back together to make some space on a shelf to then put the monitor. All right. Okay. Let's try this again. Okay. First, I'm going to remove the sound card so that I can more easily get the driver into the screws holding the bezel on. All right. Hi, Scarlet the Four-Eyed Kudo. Welcome. All right. Well, good night, Vborg. All right. Alright, something... It is quite possible that putting the power supply in warped something. Or rather, maybe unwarped something? Alright. Jeremy says I got about 100 computers to go through and 3 vehicles to get on the road on top of moving residences. Oh, yikes. That's a lot. Alright, so I am... Okay, let's see if that... Okay, let's see if that maybe got things into shape. There we go. Ah, there we go. Got it on. There we go. It's not the greatest of cases, but, well, it'll do. It'll have to do, because it's the original case. And it's not often you find these Emerson radio computers in such condition that it can be restored into a talking, working computer that has obnoxious password requirements. Oh, actually, I think there are only 7 screws that hold this case on. All right. Joe says hit it with... Oh, no, Jeremy says hit it with a hammer. Well, Joe would also say hit it with a hammer. Joe might also say, why do you need an extra 8 bits? Why do you need an extra 8 bits? Why do you need an extra 8 bits? And why do you need an extra 8 bits? It doesn't quite fit into the jingle quite as well. So, yes, this computer might get a slight clean before going to VCF East, but then again, I might just leave the scuffs on it because I got enough other stuff to work on. But I'll probably at least give it a slight clean before taking it. Or I'll take a bottle of window cleaner and paper towels with me and just clean it when it gets there. That might also be the winning combination. So, what all did I ultimately end up doing to this computer? Alright. Well, ultimately, I ended up replacing the real-time clock module with a Glitchworks module. I had to replace the chip that contains the password. Had to install an adapter board so I could use a standard... Well, I could swap compact flash cards with other computers because the high byte of the IDE port on this motherboard is backwards. Had to install a video card because it didn't have a video card in it. I think it would have originally shipped with an Oak Technologies video card. I installed a sound card in it. Installed a network card in it with the XTIDE BIOS. I cleaned and lubricated the floppy drives. Replaced the hard drive that was... the dead hard drive that was in it with a compact flash card. Because the hard drive was still in it, even if the power supply was gone. The power supply was gone. So I had to install a power supply. I then pulled the sound card out to make the bezel easier to install. I then put the case back on. And then I wondered why in the world I'm staring at a blank abyss where the sound card should be. And now you all know exactly what I'm doing now. Removing all the screws that I ever so lovingly installed. For the record, I still had 2 that weren't installed before I noticed that I had completely forgotten to put the sound card back in. Well, I guess that's better than... Alright. I'll put the sound card back in. It's got a nice quick shot sound machine sound card with the Creative Music System upgrade. And I'm using Necroware's, I guess, Gal equations. There we go. So now this computer will be ready to talk, especially when you forget to plug the keyboard in. It will play, I think, probably play all the games you could want to play on a 286. And I don't know. At some point, I may install Windows 286 on it. Oh, that's right. I also installed the maximum 8 megabytes of RAM in it because why not? And I think I've got it configured so that three of those megabytes is EMS and the rest is either conventional or XMS. Because this chipset supports EMS memory, so I don't even have to use a EMS emulator. The chipset is doing that for me. Which actually might be better than using EMM386 to emulate EMS memory, because I think that lets DOS stay in real mode by nature of the chipset doing the EMS mapping for me. So yeah, I'm not going to install Windows 286 tonight, but I'll probably install that for VCF East, since one of the show themes is Rise of the GUI. I don't know why when I see that show theme, I immediately think of the Rise of Vader, but whatever. There we go. Okay, hopefully the chat is not being mean to me. Hopefully, I am kind of curious if anyone has heard any inkling of staticky audio. Because I did Sunday swap webcams. Although the funny thing is, I'm not using the webcam for audio, but I don't know. Given what the webcam might have been doing, I could see OBS having problems with it that might have led to audio issues. Because yeah, the chat seems to have stopped. I'll check YouTube Studio here momentarily. Or the control panel. I always bring up the control panel, but when I've got OBS full screen like I do now, like I normally do, I can't see the control panel to necessarily know that something's amiss with chat. There we go. All right, so keyboard plugged in, power's plugged in. I'll go ahead and plug the speakers in. All right, we'll turn it on. Just make sure that putting it back together didn't cause any problems. Oh, Jeremy says there aren't many in the chat. Okay. All right, we'll let this boot. All right. There we go. There's the... All right. If anyone's wondering, there we go. We've got 5120K of XMS memory and 2816K of EMS memory. Oh. And we'll make sure the sound card's still working. Oh. All right, there we go. The Emerson 500EC is back together. I have all of the spare parts in a bag. In case I realized why I had them in the spare parts. So the extra screws, the little copper piece that I don't remember where it went on the case. I'll have to go watch the live stream. It probably doesn't matter if I don't put it back on. The extra case brackets that match the original, and the compact flash adapter bracket. So I always keep those parts in case I ever want to put the machine back to stock. And at least I got all those parts to do so. Yeah, there we go. It is buttoned back up. So how many Emerson computers do I have that actually are buttoned all the way back up? At the moment, one. This one. Oh, and Gutbomb's watching. Okay. All right, one last test here for the posterity. I'll move the microphone around. Oh, well, that's interesting. Huh. Well, I think in proper fashion, after reassembling the entire computer and putting it back together, and even testing it after putting it back together, and then giving it one last test, still after keeping it back together. The power switches. Alright, well, I'm going to have to take the cover back off. Because the power switch won't stay depressed in. That's depressing. Or actually, I guess in reality, that's not depressing. uh, okay, number of Emerson computers that I have completely buttoned back together again. 0. Alright, I'll have to pull the lid off and check the switch. Interestingly enough, I had the same problem with my Emerson Elite SX386 that I got it. The button seemed to be working fine. I took it apart to like upgrade the RAM and whatnot, replace the real-time clock module and put it back together, and then the power switch wouldn't stay depressed in. I had to add a spacer to it to add a spacer to the back of the button. Hi Joe. Joe said, I heard Justin using my theme song, so I created this website just for him. Hit it with a hammer.net. Oh no. Alright. Okay. Let's Oh. Hit it with a hammer.net. Welcome to the Pumpkin Tosh. Oh. Okay. Oh, not much to remove this. Oh. Not fun. I gotta remove the bezel to figure out what's wrong here. A second. Yep, I gotta remove the bezel, which means I gotta remove the sound card. Which means I'll inevitably forget to put it back in again. It feels like there's a misalignment between the button and between the case button on the bezel and the switch on the power switch itself. I have a feeling I'm about to go find one of those little adhesive bumpers. That's how I fixed the Emerson Elite SX386's power switch. I think I put 2 of the like little thin rubber feet things you can get at the hardware store on the back of the plastic button. And that was just enough space to make the button reliably press and depress. Let's see what's going on here. I mean, it is possible I may end up having to like swap power buttons. Maybe the switch on the original power supply was Alright, well, that's Alright, so the switch is reliably switching. Oh, I think I see what the problem is. Oh, this might be... Okay, this may be a bit trickier than I first imagined. Okay. Oh, also, I did forget one of the screws that hold the. Oh, I know where that. I know where that copper piece goes now. I see the mystery location where it goes. All right. Okay. So okay, there's. Oh, hey Dave, welcome and thank you, VCF East Money. All right. Yes, yes, you can. So yes, I do. I also have the coffee goal, but yes, super chats are also welcome. I won't scare those off. So thank you, Dave, for the super chat. As I dork with. Oh, I didn't realize I had that animation there. Well, I probably did. I just wasn't able to use it, and it's horribly off centered. Um, I have to figure out how to reconfigure that because I've always thought the animation was silly. But there we go. It's at least not going to be off screen anymore. Hmm. Right. Right there. At least it won't be off screen. So yes, thank you. Thank you, Dave. I'll try to figure out what is wrong with the power button. So this is the original switch that was on the case. Unfortunately, it doesn't have spade connectors, so it wasn't like something I could just swap. The new button looks to be the same size, but it's not reliably getting pressed in, and is there like an upside down to this button that I didn't realize? I think I need to like put something in that button to make sure the stem presses it. Because I think the dimensions of this switch are like ever so slightly off from the original one. Ever so slightly. Okay, let me ponder for a moment. If I had hot glue, I would fill it in with some hot glue because I could get it out with some isopropyl alcohol and careful maneuvering with a small pick. Fortunately, I don't have any hot glue. Means I may. All right. Let me see what I've got that is. Oh, here we go. That might. No, that won't work. About to say I could use the tip of one of these, but never. If I got it wrong, I would never get it out and fix it. I mean, I could use one of these screws. Oh, too big. It. The thing is, whatever I put in here, I don't have to worry about it falling out. Knock on wood. Yeah, famous last words. I don't think it will be able to fall out, but let me see. I might be able to use. Here we go. Is that screw? There we go. Let's see if that's. I just put a screw in the end of it. I didn't thread it in, so I probably will be able to knock it out if I needed to. Nope. Okay, that was not enough. Let's see here. I need. Let's see, that was an M3 screw. It had a flat head. Let me try one of these CD-ROM screws. Oh, the head's too big to fit down there. I might have to just. Hmm. All right. How about I'll just take a cotton swab and basically there's the hole in the middle of the button, but then there's a smaller hole down in there. I'm trying to find something that will fit down into that hole but stick out far enough so that when the button is pressed, oh, that's hard. It's like or I'm going to have to swap the switches between these two power supplies. Oh, wait a minute. Maybe I might. There might be another fix here. Maybe the problem isn't. Ah, maybe it's these screws that are holding the power switch in. Let me try replacing these screws with one that has a slightly shallower head on the screw because I'm actually now wondering if the screw is too tall for the button. Because if you'll remember earlier, I made the comment about the screw. And I know I'm having trouble showing what I'm doing on screen. It's like, there we go. Let's try that. maybe the problem is that the plastic button. So this is the screw that was on the new power switch that would have held it into its original case. So I just used a CD-ROM screw, which has a shallower head, which is actually closer to the screw that would have held the switch in on the original switch. So now, because the thing is, if I... Oh, I think I know what the problem is. No, it's not the screw head. I bet there's a spring missing. That must be it. I bet there's a spring. No, that doesn't make sense. All right. Hold on. I'm trying to figure out what's binding. Like it's not. All right. Let me try to find my calipers. Now I need to find my calipers. Oh, there they are. All right. Let's see if I can figure this out a little more scientifically. All right. So the old button is 3.5 millimeters. Let me find my other set of calipers. Apparently, this set of calipers has stopped working. Because if you close the calipers, it doesn't close to 0. And then you open it to measure something else, and then you get an absurdly large number that makes no sense because the calipers have stopped working. All right, I guess I'm not going to get to the second thing I wanted to work on tonight. Thanks, Emerson computer. All right. At least my audio's... No one's complaining about my audio. That's good. All right. Let me see if I can remember where my other calipers are. They're probably upstairs. Because I probably... Yep, that's probably where they are. Okay, let me... Okay, let me go upstairs. Let me see if I can find my other set of calipers. Because that's the only way I'm going to get to the bottom of this switch mystery scientifically. To try to figure out if there's if it's like the length of the button. Maybe the two switches. Maybe one of these switches is slightly longer than the other. mean, I guess I could just solder the old switch onto the new power supply. That might be. All right. Maybe that's what I'll end up having to do. I can't figure out another way around it. Okay. Let me go find the other set of calipers so I can actually measure things. All right. I'll hopefully be back momentarily because if they're not right upstairs in my office, then I don't know where they are. Great. For once, something was exactly where I thought it was. Now, granted, these are not my best set of calipers. That would be the calipers that are not working would be my best set. Well, they were my best set. Now my Harbor Freight calipers are my best calipers. Well, all right. I say something nice about them, and okay. So the button is about 3.5 millimeters by about 3.5 millimeters by. And I know all my Canadian viewers are like, wait a minute, he's using the metric system? Yes, because this would be something that probably would have been originally measured in the metric system. About 18.3 millimeters. Yep, I bet that's, originally 18.3 millimeters. Quite possibly 18 millimeters plus a tolerance. All right, and if you press the button in, it presses into a length of about 14 millimeters. Okay. Fair enough. All right. So, all right. The new button is. Let's see. That's about 3. I think it's also about 3.5 by 3.5 millimeters. Okay, it's a little larger square, but that's fine. All right, and the button is. Oh, 20.5 millimeters long. Uh-huh. And pressed in, it is 14.6 millimeters. Well, that doesn't make sense. both pressed into about the same distance. All right, that's 9 millimeters. Oh, there's the problem. Okay. Aha. I think I see the problem. So the stems on the two switches are about the same size square, and this one's a little shorter than this one, but the problem that I didn't notice is where the collar is on this switch that the button needs to rest up against. It's at like 9 millimeters on this one, and it's like 10.5 on this one, which actually means that pushing it in the same distance, I don't think you can push the button in far enough to actually depress the switch. So I guess I'm going to have to I'm either going to have to find a power supply that I already have that has a better switch on it, or actually probably what'll be easier is for me to just put the original switch on the replacement power supply. Yeah, that'll probably be easier. And that'll be easier to do. That will probably be easier to do with the power supply removed. Well, it looks like I'm probably not going to get this computer. Well, okay, I might get this computer done tonight, but, well, I'm not going to get anywhere. I'm not going to get any time to look at the Apple monitor. Of course, now I'll admit the Apple monitor is not a strictly needed part of my Apple IIe setup, but I would like to have part of my Apple IIe setup, because I was actually hoping to have the Apple IIe monitor sitting on top of the Apple IIe, and then a standard VGA flat panel monitor setting to the left or right of the Apple IIe to show off the wonderful clear image that the A2 Vidya gives you. However, if I don't get the Apple II composite monitor working in time for VCF East, well, guess what? I'm just going to have a Dell flat panel monitor sitting on top of the Apple IIe. Yeah, sacrilege for sure, but, well, at least it's usable. So now you know, Joe, why I asked you for the production link cable. So I can actually put the VGA connector on the back of my Apple IIe where it needs to go. Because composite monitor or not, I'm taking my Apple IIe to VCF East, because it's, as much as I would actually like to take the Apple II GS, it's not reliably booting, because I think it needs a new ADB controller chip. I think it's suffering from the ADB chips that don't like to start when they're cold, and I am not putting a light bulb in my Apple II GS. Yes, let's fix your Apple II GS's ADB controller problem starting up cold by putting an incandescent bulb in the Apple II GS, thereby adding extra heat for all the other components. Never really saw the complete logic of that. Well, I guess it makes your Apple II GS usable. I'm going to remove this power supply so I can just swap the two switches. I think that's probably about the best fix here. Need to unplug the motherboard. Luckily, the Berg power for the compact flash card is on a splitter, so just unplug the splitter, unplug the 5 1/4, unplug the 3.5, and now I think the power supply is clear. All right. Okay. There's the switch. Oh, actually, I'm glad I did this because I just realized I should not see something shiny there. I believe the jacket of that wire is compromised. Oh, well, that was fortuitous. Huh. All right, well, I guess considering I just realized that I may have bigger problems with this power cord here, let me go see what other power supplies I have because maybe I should just use a different power supply, and maybe if I use a different power supply, it'll have a better suited switch on it. Because if that jacket is broken there, I mean, granted, I could just strip it back and maybe we're fine, but is that a sign that this wire is like not a-okay? Okay, let me. Of course, this might be the point where I have to stop working on this for the evening if I realize I want to use a different power supply because I may have to recap a power supply to put a different power supply in my 500 EC. Hmm. Which would mean that I might have to take a different computer in its place. All right. Those cases have two power supplies. All right. I'm looking to see what AT power supplies I have. It's also possible that I may. Hmm. Or maybe I'll put a. Might be my chance to put an ATX power supply in it. Because I've got some I do have some of the power switch leads. Of course, I could always take this button off and just wire it for ATX soft power. All right. Well, it looks like I've come to a I have come to a decision point on the 500EC. Because I have to swap. Well, because there's something wrong with the. Well, I got to put a new. I got to probably put the original switch on whatever power supply I use for it. And this power supply, there's something wrong with the power cord that feeds the mains voltage to the power switch. Because it looks like the insulation is broken in a spot, and it's not exactly the greatest wiring in the world. So I'm tempted to. I'm very tempted to err on the side of caution and pull my Noctua fan out of this power supply and just call it a lost power supply because I don't know what's happened to that power cord. Call me crazy, but it is AC power and yeah. Okay. So I've come to a decision point, which means the 500EC is not put back together. In fact, it's in almost as many parts as it was at the beginning of the night. All right. I'm actually inclined to get an ATX to AT power adapter and just I'm inclined to put an ATX power supply in here. I've got an ATX power supply that supplies negative 5 volts because I do need negative 5 volts for this system. I'm just inclined to maybe use an ATX power supply and just be done with it. Okay, that's not the power supply. Hold on. All right, I don't remember where the power supply I was going to use is located right offhand. I think I set it to the side because I was using it with an adapter and I didn't realize the power supply actually supplied negative 5 volts and I was using it with a power adapter that generates negative 5 volts and weird things was happening. So I set it to the side so I didn't plug it into my adapter. So if you hold on just a moment while I look for it, I want to at least make sure the holes line up. If it does, then I'll get a power adapter for this computer and I'll convert this to ATX. Or I'll use my Mad Dog power supply. That would be Mad Dog. Alright, please continue to hold. While I continue to find the power supply that I know I've got here somewhere. Alright, good thing I'm looking for a power supply. I didn't realize how precarious the workbench power situation had become. There we go. Managed to knock the power strip off the back of the workbench. Alright, it has been resecured. Everything is plugged in securely. I got the computer on a UPS anyway, so even if I'd managed to yank the power cord, I would have had a beeping noise beeping at me to let me know that I did something silly. Alright. Okay. Well, this is where I'm. Oh. Jeremy says Neckerware in Phil's computer lab created the voltage blaster to provide the negative 5 volts in older systems with ISA. Yeah, Jeremy, I know that, but I have an ATX power supply that already generates negative 5 volts, which means I don't have to waste waste a slot with a voltage blaster because I only have one free slot. And unfortunately, I believe the voltage blaster is too tall to fit under the compact flash card adapter, so I would have to use my one remaining free slot for a voltage blaster. Because this motherboard has 5 slots, not 8 slots. And with a video card, a network card, and a sound card, and possibly me wanting to, since you could theoretically play CD-ROM games with a 286, I had thought of putting a SCSI card in here for external DB25 SCSI so that I could use a blue SCSI to play CD-ROM games, should I be so crazy, and you modified their design to make it inline. Well, that would fit, but I mean, that would fit if I had an inline one, but I have an ATX power supply that already does it. I just can't find it. I don't know what it. I put it somewhere so that I didn't get it mixed up with another one. And now I don't know what I did with it. Yeah, I didn't want to waste a slot with a voltage blaster because the compact flash card adapter is, yeah, it unfortunately it fits too low to, it fits too low. That's the problem there. I'd have to use an inline one. But the problem is the pins on this motherboard they're like thicker than normal pins, so there's that. The problem really is I can't find the power supply that I know I have somewhere. Not that I don't have an ATX to AT power adapter to dedicate to the machine. I'd have to get one. So, I mean, I do have a couple other AT power supplies, some of which are marked seems okay, but they're also like higher wattage AT power supplies that I may need to put into service for a different computer. So I'm trying to look to see if I can find the what I did with it. I just probably need to get an ATX to AT power adapter. Hi Eric, welcome. I was actually about to go ahead and end the stream because I've kind of ran into an impasse. I mean, even if I find the power supply I'm looking for, I can't mount it. Yeah, basically, for those of you that just recently tuned in, I put the thing all the way back together only to find out that the power switch on the new power supply, the stem is different, so it didn't reliably turn on. Of course, only figured that out after I put it all back together. And then I discovered that the power cable coming out of the power supply to the switch might actually be damaged. So, might actually have been a um, dodged bullet there. So now I'm looking for the I'm looking. I've got an ATX. I should be going to bed anyways. Yeah, I saw your video. I guess I didn't see your short. I would appreciate someone letting me know what the diameter of the offending sticker is, because my sticker kind of had a unfortunate run in with a um destructive device, because I was thinking of having some stickers printed, and depending on what the diameter of said sticker is, I might my stickers might be the same diameter conveniently. I think they're 2-inch stickers. Yeah, it was yeah, I did a little research today. I haven't ordered stickers yet. My goal is just kind of a bit low to order stickers, because I would like to bring stickers to VCF East, but I priced them, and to get them made the way I want them made, they're stupidly expensive. Because I was thinking of having them printed so that my QR code was on the back of the sticker, so that if I give you a sticker, then you scan the back and hey, there's my channel's URL as a QR code. You can easily subscribe. But yeah, that idea might not happen. The getting the vinyl printed is the cheap part. It's the getting the back printed that's the expensive part. That bomb says 2 inches. Excellent. So I may end up just printing standard stickers, because I was kind of wanting to have some buttons made and stickers. And then, of course, I ended up finding a company that makes case badges at a decent price. Although, by decent price, I mean, mind you, I think they were like $2 a piece. But for a case badge, I guess that's not bad, because they were the nice domed case badges. So now those I wouldn't be able to give those away at VCF East, because that's like a bit much for giving away. But if I get a merch store open, I might sell custom case badges for with my channel logo on them. Because then, if you build a computer that you were inspired by me to do it, well, you can put a computerized start case badge on your computer, or I could put a computerized start case badge on some of my builds, as long as the stickers have a protective coating. Um, well, I do know that the sticker that had an unfortunate end did not have a protective coating sufficient enough to survive the destructive device that it met. It, yeah. Oh, Eric says my very cheap stickers do not have a coating, and I mention they were very inexpensive. Oh, actually, I want to get. I found a place where I could get vinyl stickers, and if I order like 300 of them, they were only like 20 cents a piece. Or maybe it was, I think I could order 225, and they were basically, I think for $60 I could have 300 round stickers, and I think they were I don't know that they had the like a laminated coating on them, but they were not what I would consider an uncoated sticker. And 20 cents a piece for a round sticker seemed to be a reasonable price. And the thing is, I'm having color stick. Oh yeah, Eric says mine were 8 cents each. Your stickers were also black and white. My stickers are color. I mean, yes, I could print my logo in black and white, but it looks better in color. You should also see the buttons I designed. They're I have a friend that makes buttons. They can make 1 inch and they can make 1.5 inch buttons. And if I order, actually, their buttons are 30 cents a piece. I have to order. I think the way they do it, the like minimum order is like $25 or something like that. But basically, I was just going to order like 100 buttons from them at 30 cents a piece, and that includes shipping. So, because I know some people might like buttons more than stickers. And the thing is, if they wanted a magnet, they could slap a magnet on the back of the button, and congratulations, they have a magnet. And besides, I've known this friend for a while. I've been wanting an excuse to buy some buttons. So, anyways, I'm kind of hoping to have something to hand out more than just my cards this year at VCF East, but haven't been able to order anything yet because the one thing I did do is I've made sure to try to order a few parts to try to get a few things repaired. So for Marchintosh and for VCF East. So I guess while I'm wrapping it up, okay, so Thursday I'll be back on the Quadra 700. I I'm gonna finish recapping the power supply that was in the 2VX case. I have a CD-ROM recap kit because I'd forgotten to order one of those, so that came in today. So I will be able to recap the CD-ROM drive. I'm fairly sure it needs it because they all do. The caps that Sony used in those CD-ROM drives were awful. And then hopefully we'll be able to assemble that back up and have a Quadra 700 CD. The if we get through with that, I probably on Thursday stream. I've got an LC that I need to replace the sound amplifier chip on, so I may do that real quick if I finish up with the Quadra 700. Because one thing I don't have for it is a hard drive bracket, but yeah, I may have to see if there's a 3D model for the hard drive bracket that the 2VX case uses. Anyways, but yeah, I'm gonna work on the Quadra 700. So Thursday streams a March of Tosh stream. Um, Next Tuesday, I may, I it may be more of a last minute schedule, but if I have things to repair for VCF East, I'll probably stream Tuesday. But I may not. So if I don't, I won't. Because I do know I'd like to get the Apple IIe composite monitor working. It's not a must have. I also have a Macintosh 12-inch monitor I need to try to get working. It's also not at the moment a must have. And I'll have to look at the list of computers because I've got like 6 computers plus like an LC that I haven't decided which one I would take. But that makes 7 computers, and I was thinking 6 on the table seemed to be the right number. Pending me borrowing 2 6-foot. I'm gonna ask my neighbors if anyone has 2 6-foot tables I can borrow, so I can like mock set up the display, so I can get an idea of is 3 computers per table actually a good amount? Is it too few? Or have I picked computers where that's actually too many computers? So I'm being vague as to like what all the computers are because I'm going to post the blog post for channel supporters first. But yeah, I would. I definitely, if you take a look at that post, channel supporters will get to see it first for a couple days before I make it a public post. I would like feedback. So if like one of the computers I want to take is like, Justin, you're way off base, or why is this on your backup list, or why did you disqualify? Because I got like 3 computers that are on the. Well, I'm not going to be mysterious about those. Uh, I've got 3 compact Macs that went on the like at the moment, I don't plan on taking these lists. I left them there because I'd already had them in the list, but I put them there. Basically, I looked at what the other exhibits were in the same room, and I realized that the 3 compact Macs that were on my backup list, or well, 2 were on the backup list, one was on the primary list. I saw that other exhibit, I'm like, "Yeah, I'm gonna pick a different Mac." Because I was like, too duplicative in the room. I was like, "Nope, I'll pick a different Mac." So anyways, yeah, but yeah, I'll try to get that up because the post is at the moment, it's like I'm making minor corrections to it, so at this point, I probably just need to paste it and post it. It's like something I actually bothered to write in Word so I could actually spell and grammar check it better. So, yeah, keep an eye out for that. But anyways, yeah, I thought I could get this Emerson computer back together, and well, it doesn't want to go together. I would like to take it to VCF East, but well, if it's not cooperating, then I'll pick another computer. It may not be a talking computer, but uh, I don't know. I mean, the only reason I was going to take this 286 is because it talks. If it was just otherwise a bog standard 286, it wouldn't be going because there's like enough Windows computers in the world. I was only going to take it because you all asked for it because it talks, and that is kind of an interesting feature given the age of the computer and what PCs did. It is. I'm not going to say it's unique, but it is definitely a less common feature. I'll put it that way. So it was kind of different enough. I was like, okay, yeah, I'll bring it because it's like at least I can load some programs on it that make it different. Yeah, this Emerson though is it's like I don't know. I think just because 286 was still not quite things were standardized, it's making it harder for me to get it working. So, anyways, I mean, if this computer goes to the backup list because I just keep having trouble with it, then well, I guess I'll get to promote some other computer to the primary list. Because actually, I think I've already decided one of the computers I'm taking is not going to be an it's not going to be an active display, but I'm going to do something else with it in regards to why I would even bother bringing it. And that's mainly because yeah, well, for reasons. I don't want to give away which one it is. I mean, you might be able to figure out why, given some of the reasons why I was not inclined to take the 286. But Jeremy says try to find a 386 that talks. 386 or better. Um, I don't want to go too new with a. I don't want to go too new with just a computer that runs Windows. If I have to boot the Emerson 500EC because I just can't quite get it back together in time, because unfortunately the fact that I need to get either I got to figure out where the power supply I'm looking for went, or find another AT power supply that there's not some reason why I don't want to put it in here. Because unfortunately, the one I found that is free, that's an AT power supply, it was also one that has long leads on it, and I need that for a different project. Um, and in fact, I need it for something that's going to VCFEs. So I can't like borrow it for this computer because I need it for something else that's potentially going to VCF East. So, good night, Eric. I do have another computer in mind, though, Jeremy. If I can't take the Emerson computer because it talks, I do have another PC that I might would take because of the operating system that it shipped with. And that's all I'm going to say. other than Jeremy could probably figure out which one it is, but he's not allowed to guess in the chat. If you think you've guessed it, Jeremy, you can send me a text message or a Discord message or something, and I will I will let you know which one it is, because I think you might have an inkling of which one it might be based on that comment, especially if you think of other x86 operating systems. But that's all I'm going to say. So if this one goes off the list, I've got another one in mind to put on the list, even though I've yet to figure out what in the world I would run on the computer to make it worth it. But sometimes sometimes there's operating systems where the story, because remember, there's two themes for this year's VCF East. And the themes are the rise of the GUI and computer art. So so yeah, I kind of thought of this other computer because it kind of fits the theme of, as the rise of the GUI, there were operating systems that didn't do so well. And no, it's not a BIOS machine. I'll at least, no, not BIOS. I'm sure Action Retro will have that one covered. And I don't know that the operating system was necessarily a complete failure. I think there were certain segments where it actually was a decent success. But yeah, it was probably for some of the markets that really mattered, it was a failure. So, anyways, uh, but yeah, anyways, that's kind of the I've got my list of computers. I think 6 is about the right number, and Sadmax says, "Ooh, weird operating systems." Yeah, weird could potentially describe it. I'm having trouble figuring out like a program or two to load on it to actually show off what it could do, but that's half the challenge of putting an exhibit together, is finding a way to tie the exhibit together. But anyways, the other thing I'm trying to do with the exhibit is like half the computers, at least, I would like to actually be like from my history, but then the other half might be just like more general things my generation grew up with. Um, I don't think I'm taking anything that runs Linux, Jeremy. Because I have a feeling that's probably going to be decently well covered by other exhibits. So yeah, probably won't be. Probably won't. I mean, I can't say that I wouldn't if it really came down to it, and I was like trying to figure out what to show off. No, before anyone asks, I am not taking Hannah Montana Linux. Not going to do it. I'd pick another distribution. I mean, that's not to say that I won't take something that runs Linux, but I'm not going to just shoehorn Linux on something to say, hey, it runs Linux. Because some of those older Linux versions, getting hardware to run is a pain. Like video cards. Oh, that was fun back then. But yeah, so but I've got my list. I've got the primary list. I've got the backup list. I've got in fact, actually, when you look at the blog post, I've actually named out for the primary list, it it lists out why I'm taking it, and for the backup list, it like calls out why it's on the backup list and not the primary list. And I've also named off like what I need to do to it and like disadvantages of the computer. I Because actually all the computers have some sort of a disadvantage and advantage. And there's one computer that at least one computer on the list where the disadvantage is it's like so absurdly heavy that there is no way I am going to want to take it. And no, Jeremy, that would not be Bertha. Bertha did not make the list. Bertha did not make the list this year because I would have had to have requested more power for my table than I wanted to if I was taking Bertha. Because that's one of the questions they ask you is like, how much power will your exhibit draw? And I looked at the choices. I'm like, I think I'd better go for the realistic number. Because I was like, yeah, do I really want to ask for like 30 amps of power for my exhibit? They'll put me out in the far reaches of the campus. Yeah, Jeremy says, okay, back up the crane here, boys. I mean, that's not to say that there aren't heavy computers there, but yeah, that one didn't make the cut because of how heavy it is and how much power it draws. And I couldn't think of a well, and yeah, and I would spend the rest of the month trying to get it running. Mm, it was a different computer that yeah, let's see. Bertha didn't even make the list because of multiple reasons. There is another computer that I have that is incredibly heavy, and also its power consumption is a bit up there too. And it's on the backup list right now, but I am very tempted to like bump it off the backup list because as much as it would be nice to maybe have it there because I might get some help with it, I'm not carrying it. It's probably going to get bumped. I've got plenty of other computers that are on the list. Don't worry. I've got there are a couple computers on my list where I don't have anything I am not aware of anything I need to do to them to take them. So while I have some computers I'm trying to fix, I have a few computers where either the repairs are like none or it's like I got to load software. So there's some easy ones there too. Um n- n- it would not be entirely correct to say that Bertha has not moved at all. I believe I have rotated Bertha about 30 degrees from where we first set it, and I've pulled some of its parts out. So Bertha has moved. It would be more correct to say Bertha has not moved very far as a whole unit because it was more rotate than anything else. Um, yeah. So I think Bertha's been rotated. um, yeah. I did start to pull some things out to get an idea of what needs to be done to the server. For anyone wondering, Bertha is a 8 Xeon, an 8 Pentium 3 Xeon compact server that would have required 15 amps to run just the server. And yeah, it was kind of one of those, given the weight and power consumption. Bertha's going to have to get at least a few more years older before I would even consider buying the back braces and small lift cranes necessary to get the server there. I will find a way to work on Bertha probably later this year because I would kind of like to start putting Bertha back together. So power consumption is kind of the reason why I haven't been more excited to work on Bertha. But let's see here. But anyways, yep. So we covered what I'm doing Thursday. Covered the possibility of another work stream Tuesday, but I'm not sure. I got to figure out what parts come in. Yeah, she might require her own independent breaker. Not that I don't have wire and breakers to put in a circuit, but yeah, there's reasons I haven't yet. Yeah, I don't know what I'll work on. If I do have a work stream next Tuesday, I'll have to. I do know while I was streaming, I did get a eBay notification that, oh, yeah, I got an eBay notification that one of my orders shipped, but actually it was parts from Marcintosh. So that is. So I think in terms of Marcintosh streams, the Quadra 700 this Thursday. I don't know what next Thursday will be, because that's going to be the 21st. I think the parts that just shipped today, they're coming out of China because I couldn't. There was a seller that claimed they had the parts in the US, but when I looked at the feedback, I realized it was one of those sellers that claims they have them in the US, but there were like lots of people in the feedback commenting how funny how all my parts came from China, even though they said they were located in the US. So, like, nope, I'm not going to pick that seller. I'll pick the seller that is admitting to have the parts in China because I find that more trustworthy that you're telling me truthfully where the parts are and not trying to get me to order from your US based location and then just directly ship them from China. Also, the more I stared at that US seller's photo, I realized there were two other auctions, one in Taiwan and one in China that had the same photo. And the more I stared at the photo, the more I realized the printing didn't look right on any of the three photos. So I just ordered from the China-based seller where at least the photo looked closer to what I thought the printing should look like. And at least they're like openly saying, hey, yeah, the parts are in China. I'm like, okay, I think the seller's possibly going to actually send me the chips that I need. But yeah, that'll probably be on the 28th for that Marcintosh repair. It's not going to be a computer that makes it to VCF East. Prop, uh, Probably won't. Let's have enough other computers to fall out. I'm also not entirely convinced this chip is going to fix the problem. But anyways, hopefully those chips will come in time. I have noticed that things I've ordered from China are coming in about 2 weeks. So I might actually have the parts then. They did ship. So unfortunately, I was hoping that the item that shipped was going to be the thing I ordered today, but no. Nope. Oh yeah, there was one other thing I was going to mention. Yeah, if you remember, I guess it was last Thursday, I showed off that Asus video sound card that I got from MediaBus. Yeah, I discovered earlier this week it's the wrong card. It doesn't fit my motherboard. So I'm actually going to return it. The seller accepts returns. I'm going to return it because I wanted to. I don't want to buy another MediaBus motherboard. I'm just going to return the card. I thought it fit the motherboard I had. Mainly, and the problem is, if you don't pay close attention to the spacing of the connectors, that yeah, Gut Bomb says no. Yeah, I didn't realize it was just a media bus card because you have to pay very close attention to the spacing between the back of the PCI connector and the like Asus media bus connector. You could also count pins because Media Bus 2 has like 4 more pins than Media Bus 1. But the better indicator is to mind the gap because Media Bus 2, the gap is wider. Because on Media Bus 1, the extra connector is like right behind the PCI connector. There is a slight gap on Media Bus 2. But if you don't pay attention to the photos and you're not aware of what you need to look for, then yeah, you'll order the wrong Media Bus card. And that's exactly what I did. I didn't realize I didn't mind the gap. I didn't count pins. I didn't realize that this card was the wrong media bus, and it was. I have no way of testing it. Yeah, I tried to put it in the motherboard, and I'm wondering why in the world the connector won't fit, and I realized, yeah, it's the wrong media bus. Shame on Asus for making them, like, so close that the only practical way to know for sure is to find a list of all the media bus card part numbers. I think that's, like, the most reliable way. But it's not like that list is totally easy to find if you're trying to like do 12 things at once. But anyways, yeah, that was the other thing I was going to mention. That card was the wrong one. Yeah, the more I compared the cards, I realized that yeah, there was more than one media bus. So media bus 1 and then media bus 2. I think on the original media bus, it's just marked media bus. On the media bus 2 boards, it's marked media bus 2.0. But yeah, and they're not compatible. Jeremy says overall separate cards are better. Yes, Jeremy, I know they're better, but sometimes as a YouTuber, you have to embrace the things that the industry did that make you go, ugh. Yeah, it's kind of one of those, why did they do that? It's stupid. I'm not willing to buy a media bus board though, just to prove the point of how stupid it was. I think I can prove that enough with the board and card I already have. But media bus is interesting. I think I would maybe find the. I think the media bus card that I find more interesting is the SCSI and sound card, as opposed to the video and sound card, because at least the SCSI sound card, you um, it's actually like a full blown SCSI implementation and not just the oh yeah, it's a sound card with SCSI and it's just for a CD-ROM drive. It's like an actual full-blown legit SCSI with sound card. That one I think I find more interesting. And then a separate video card. But I haven't seen the MediaBus 2.0 SCSI sound card show up at all. The ones I found on eBay right now, they're the MediaBus 1 ones, so yeah. Oh, and yeah, the MediaBus 1 ones have the OPL3 chip on them. I bet the MediaBus 2 one doesn't. Anyways, I think that's where I'm going to draw the stream to an end. I sure thought I would get I thought I would get a computer and a monitor, a computer repaired and a monitor on the way to repair. But instead, I didn't get to look at the monitor and the computer still isn't repaired. You might have to refresh, Jeremy. I I see. Well, actually, the one thing I did, Jeremy, I turned on live chat instead of top chat, but it might also be your browser. Anyways, I'm about to draw the stream to an end because it's midnight and this was an unplanned stream and kind of had told myself, all right, I'm going to end it when midnight happens or I get both items repaired. And we are now to the point where midnight is about to happen. So I'm going to draw the stream to a close. I hope you all have a great rest of your day. I hope to see you here Thursday. So be sure to subscribe and turn on notifications so you know when I go live. And don't forget to smash that like button for the perseverance in trying to get this computer repaired. And with that, I'd like to wish you a great rest of your day. Hi, Sloopy. I was about to draw the stream to a close because my specific goals were not met, but my time limit has been met. So anyways, take care and God bless. Computerized Start is brought to you by my awesome patrons on Patreon and by your tips and memberships on Ko-fi. These and other channel supporters make my live streams possible. You too can become a channel supporter with tiers starting at just $1. Don't forget to smash that like button. And if you've liked what you've seen, subscribe and turn on notifications so that you don't miss the next video or live stream. And as always, thank you for all your support. I hope to see you next time. And until then, take care.